106.5 FM. It's just gonna be us two tonight. So if you guys are driving, if you guys are just leaving, you know, houses or bars or places because you guys are watching the football game, you guys get to listen to two young lads chop it up today. So, but before we get started, you know how we do it. We're about to give a shout out to our one and only sponsor today. Kyle, give it away.
SNJRadio.com. No negative news, no politics, just feel good music.
There you guys. Yeah, you guys can go online, snjradio.com. You can
Yep.
request songs, any type of music. He's very open and diverse with that type of stuff. So it is pretty cool. And you guys get to hear us say some positive quotes.
Yep.
You might have already heard them before because we haven't sent out any new ones. But, hey, we might get back in the game with that stuff.
Yep.
So Kyle, how's your Sunday, my guy?
Sunday was beautiful. Sunday was nice with the church.
What was today's message? I remember you were talking about you guys are doing a little section through these next couple weeks.
We're in the middle of a 5-week segment. This is week 3.
Segment. There you go.
Of finding and using your spiritual gifts. And so they give you like this book, and you can break out into small groups if you wanted to. And it's basically what has God given you, and how can you use it to help or inspire others.
Okay, and do you want to talk a little bit about your personal gift and how you use it and stuff?
So my personal gifts are obviously gonna be probably speaking. So speaking the word of God, or at least talking to other people, and encouragement is my other one.
Now, I know that my brother went with you to church today, right?
Yeah.
Did you have this discussion with him at all, or did you guys talk about it?
Not yet. But we're gonna have a discussion probably this week about it.
Okay, is he gonna be coming on next week too, or is he gonna be going with you to church next week?
Yeah. Well, maybe. Hopefully.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's something that we're coming up, we're planning to do, and you're part of it. You don't have a choice. We're doing a chess tournament.
Okay.
You played chess before, right?
Long time ago.
Oh, okay. Are you decent?
I've only played like 3 times in my life. I'm gonna be completely honest with you.
All right, so we got to start practicing before
For sure.
we get it.
Okay.
So me and my brother, we Tuesdays and Thursdays, that's the days that I'm free most of the time. I get off work at like 11, 12 o'clock, and then I come home. Timmy's home, and I'm like, hey, you know what day it is? He's like, yeah, it's coffee and chess. So we go to either Chai Coffee on California Street in Yucaipa, or we go to White Rabbit on the top of Yucaipa Boulevard. And we're regulars. We are regulars there. Excuse me. And we'll go like Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Okay.
Grab some coffee, play some chess.
Okay.
And he played JC, and he's like, dude, JC's tough. I do a thing called Motivation Mondays, and this is where it all ties in. Motivation Mondays, I go to White Rabbit, 8 o'clock, 8 a.m., and I used to do just anyone's invited, but now I've been doing like real estate agents. Because for those of people that don't know, or maybe need a reminder, I am a real estate agent here in basically all of California because the license covers everything. But primarily here in Yucaipa, Redlands, Beaumont, all that good stuff. So if anyone has any questions, you guys can call me, contact me. You can find me on Century 21 Lois Lauer, or you can call this radio station and ask for me. So I'm here. I have my license for over a year now, and we got the dice moving.
There we go.
But anyways, I had my lender come on to Motivation Monday, and we're trying to get this person pre-qualified. She's looking for a fourplex. But after the whole session, I was like, hey, bro, you down to play some chess? And this guy was actually really good. And I was thinking about it. I was like, I always play chess with Timmy.
Yeah.
Timmy's playing chess with JC. We're all like family, but I want like an outside circle, like not really competition, but yes, competition. Yeah,
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we're going to bracket out. We're going to have 8 people. Okay, and the 8. Well, I mean, you might know my lender, but it's me, Timmy, JC, you, Marcos, my lender, and I'm missing 2 more people. but we're all pretty close. We all know each other, right? So it should be easy. And it's gonna be $20 entry fee. Okay. So out of
Bro,
8 people, $20. First place gets $100. Second place gets $60.
I don't know about that.
You, bro, you're in the game, dude. Look,
Bro,
we haven't. Oh, Harrison's in it too.
okay.
So
I mean, I'm always down to chill. I'm not putting $20 down in the game. And I never played.
look, I'm sure you can get it. I mean, I don't expect myself to get first place, but I definitely it puts the stakes up there, just a little bit. And Timmy,
Oh man.
oh, he has 20 bucks. Hey, Joe, you want to get in this? You play chess? You do? Really?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, maybe Joe can take my spot.
Yeah, I like it. We'll do that. Something that I learned about Timmy. There's a couple things that I learned about Timmy. Timmy.
Right.
And it's crazy because if you just let someone talk, they will really start to just dissect themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And last time we went out to get coffee and stuff, we actually didn't play chess, and there's a reason for that. But this time we just got coffee and we were just talking, and I was like, "Hey, Timmy, start off a conversation." I was like, "Hey, do you think everything needs a purpose? Like, do you think everything needs to be earned?" And he started rambling on, and like, there's a lot of things that we don't really agree with.
Yeah.
But for this particular day, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to try to argue with them. I'm not going to bicker with them. Like, it's a beautiful day. We're having coffee. We're just hanging out.
Yeah.
I'm
Just gonna let him go.
I'm just going to let them go.
Yeah.
And if you guys listen to any of our previous shows when it's just you and I,
Yeah.
like, we always talk about, like, personal development.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it just ends up being
It does.
talked about, right?
Yeah.
And that's something I'm very, like, passionate about. With Timmy, it always ends up talking about, like, always talking about like nature versus nurture, or like how it all started, or where it began.
You get a different ending with Timmy than I do. That used to be a radio button. Timmy.
Timmy.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Next to the air horns.
what do you get with Timmy?
Okay.
Or Liam? What do you get with Liam?
Timmy. When Timmy and I talk, it always ends up being like an entrepreneur idea,
Right. Okay.
or like him building something and me doing like the technology for it.
Really?
Yeah, it always ends that way.
Interesting. I guess like when you're around certain people, not saying like you wear a different hat, but it's like your energy, your vibration, your frequency kind of switches, right?
It does.
And so like
Yeah.
I think with you and Timmy, like I can see that.
Yeah.
With me, I'm more like psychological and all that, physiological and stuff. So like that's Timmy's side switching on
Yeah.
when he's talking
Uh-huh.
to me.
Yeah.
So, and I know Timmy's very ambitious and
He
he's
is.
very creative.
He is.
What is some of the things that he told you that he wanted to make?
All right, this one's the craziest thing I've ever heard him say. Okay. So at the time he was living with me.
Okay.
I had either school or work the next day, something important. And he wakes me up at like 3:05 a.m. and goes, "Bro, I have an idea." I was like, "Timmy, you know what time it is? I gotta be like, I gotta leave the house at like 5. What's going or wake up at 5, whatever." He's like, "Bro, we should make an Iron Man suit."
I knew that was gonna be it, bro. I should have called it.
Yeah. Has he
Iron
talked
Man.
about it?
Yes, plenty of times.
Oh,
him and
It
my
started with me. He's like, "Bro, I really think we could do this. I just need your logistic skills, and I need some of your I think we could put some money together." I was like, "What money? This is 3 a.m."
So what do you got in your pocket, bro?
I was like, "Bro, I don't even know what's in my wallet. Like, it's over there."
That's funny because him and my cousin Adonis,
Yeah.
they have the same mind. They both thought still think, hey, we can make an Iron Man suit.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, Timmy's imagination doesn't harmonize with Adonis's imagination, right?
Oh, that's got to be funny.
So it's like Timmy's like, oh, bro, the suit can be made out of this, and then it can look like this, and then Adonis is like, nah, what about like it would be cooler if it was like, but
Yeah.
they both have an idea,
Yeah.
and it's like this has okay. He lived with you like years ago, right?
Yeah.
Bro, he still talks about it. He still talks about the Iron Man suit,
I know.
and it's been I want to say like a decade.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was some of his details on the criteria of making this Iron Man suit? Like,
I don't
what was
even.
the suit made out of and stuff?
He wants it out of this like I don't know industrial metal. It's not like steel or anything, but
Mhm.
something that like withstands really high temperatures and is malleable. And so he was talking about that, like and like every other sentence was uh military grade. I was like, Timmy,
What does that even mean?
I was like, Timmy, how are you gonna get military grade stuff at like 4 a.m.? What are you doing? And he's like, no, I really think we could pull this off. I was like, all right, I want you to draw me up a blueprint.
Yep.
I want you to
Here we
draw me up a
go.
blueprint, and then we'll talk about it in the AM or PM. I mean, and so I'm still waiting for that blueprint.
After all these years. Well,
Um,
he has drawn a few. Like I think his first model was like dragon scales.
he
Dra-
did talk about that.
what? How do you? Okay, so what's the right grammar? Drawn, drawn a few. There you go. Thank you.
Yeah,
Saying this on the air, dude. He drawn a few, and I think his first model was dragon scales,
I think he did talk about that.
right?
Yeah, he did.
Because there's a thing called like dragon scale Kevlar,
Yeah,
and I think that was like his first like aha moment. He's like, oh, dude, I can make a whole suit like that.
yeah,
Yeah, he has drawings of that stuff, dude. It's very funny, but you know, picking Timmy's brain is very interesting.
it is. You get some good stuff.
Like I've never met such an interesting person before in my life.
Honestly, yeah,
And you guys got to hear his philosophies. There's some things that make me cringe, dude. I'm like,
yeah,
dude.
definitely. But I think we all have those moments.
Oh yes, of course. If you guys are just tuning in, it's 15 minutes past 7. We're just talking about my brother Timmy. His crazy ideas and philosophies and stuff. But there's so much more we're gonna be talking about tonight. I just want to give you guys a heads up. You guys listening to whatever works on KCAA 1050 AM and Express 106.5. I'm your host Sam Works.
I'm Kyle Kerrigan.
And we're going to continue chopping it up because this is what we do on Sunday nights, guys. I can't tell you. There was a couple weeks ago, it was like mid-December and then like beginning of the January, like we just weren't on the show. It was just like repeats over repeats. We're like
Yeah.
just not here at the station.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the feeling coming back for the first time, bro. It was just like it was very heart touching, bro.
It was.
I love doing this
It
show.
was.
I love all the people who listen to us and support us.
Yeah, this show is one of the best things that's ever happened in my life.
Yeah.
Honestly.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I hope we can just keep this going. So I also do a show. I'm a co-host on Thursday mornings at 8 a.m. on the Dr. Marissa show, and it's called Straight Talk, right?
Yeah.
And it's so funny because I mean she's an older woman,
Yeah.
and I'm a younger man, and we're both straight and we're both single, right? So then we start talking about relationships and how this should be and like how it was back then compared to now,
Yeah.
And last week was a pretty good segment. It wasn't very controversial at all. It was about crucial conversations to have with your significant other.
Okay.
So, Kyle, my question to you is what are some things what are some conversations that you need to have with your partner, either before you guys get serious or, while you're serious with each other? Because I came up with 5.
You came up with 5.
And I'm curious if like you have the same topics as I do. So, well, pick it out.
All right, so one off the bat, this
'Kay.
came to me immediately.
'Kay.
Okay, is what's the end game? Marriage, kids.
Okay,
Di-
yes, that was one of them. Good job.
different things like that.
Okay. What's another crucial conversation?
Another crucial conversation was
Because let me ask you this. All right, you're Catholic, yes, or
uh
Mormon, or I'm
I'm
sorry.
I'm non-denominational.
Okay. What if what if your partner was atheist? Would that be a problem?
No.
Okay.
No, I've dated atheists actually.
Oh,
I've had some really good conversations with atheists.
all right.
I've had I've had equal really good conversations with atheists and Christians alike. And
Cool.
I've debated with, a few of my friends who are Jewish.
Mhm.
Um, you know, uh I have some friends that are Sunni Islam. I have some really good conversations with them. And it all comes down to humanity and different things.
Mm.
How we think, how we operate. We have different books, but they all mean the same thing in the end.
Mm.
Is
Yeah, like the Quran compared to like
yeah, build
the
each
Old
other up.
Testament.
Love your neighbor.
Okay.
It's all the same. It's all the same characteristics and ideas.
You know what's interesting to me is that like for me, I would want someone who has like not has to, but like it's funny, but like believe in something, right? And
Yeah,
even
definitely.
even if they don't believe in anything, I still think that's something.
Yeah, that's definitely something.
Because
Yeah.
like my mind is kind of cuckoo, but the way I think of it, bro, is like you really create your own reality, your
Yeah.
own world. And so if you believe that there is a heaven, then honestly, you might be in heaven. If you believe that once you die, there will be nothing, then when you die, there will be nothing.
Yeah.
Like it is what you make it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like,
It's about the plants you water. Definitely.
bro, and it's like, it's just crazy to me. So, like, I don't know. Like, when people, like, your frequency is what you frequently see,
Yeah.
right? So if you're just mad at the world the whole time and just like you think everything is so negative, that is your frequency, and all you're going to see is just negative and bad things in the world.
Yeah.
You know?
There was a philosophy. I used to live next to this native, and you know, he grew up on a reservation, like in the actual huts, different things like that. He actually lived off the land, and he said that his chief told him once that you have access to different animals, and life is gonna go your way by which animal you feed.
Hmm.
So if you feed the wolf, you're always angry. It's gonna cause destruction. If you feed, the sheep, to live off the land, nature. Um, if you feed the eagle, stuff like that. And him and I had a really good conversation about, what does it mean to be part of a religion.
Hmm.
And so he says the same thing as me, and maybe I did get it from him,
Okay.
but um, you know, date someone with a purpose, and it could be the purpose is anything, as long as they have a dream,
Hmm.
something that they're working towards, you know, and so
That yeah.
there you go. That's a purpose.
No.
Yeah,
I wouldn't think so. I mean, honestly, you know, there's a lot of things in life where it's just like, okay, people can believe certain things or, have certain things in life,
right.
and to other people it might be disgusting or they might be mad at it.
Yeah,
But generally speaking, for me, it's like I understand life is so like volatile and crazy and diverse and just everything
yeah,
that to me everything is okay.
yeah.
Like realistically, you know?
And like to go what kind of Joe was talking about. Um, I think
Pointing names.
well, I think religion could be good or bad, good and bad.
Mm.
One, someone who believes in religion, someone has a criteria for morals, you know, whatever, pick one, you know. And so, they grew up with morals, kind of like a human understanding, human laws, different things like that. But, I don't agree with how religion takes a person,
Mm.
and religion can take people and put them in extreme ideas and give them extreme, thoughts. The whole Crusades, throughout, the War on Terror, things like that. Religion. It's all based on religion, if you think about it.
Mm.
And so I think the laws and the ideas are good. I don't think it's for everybody, but I don't think it should be forced on children. Um, I think when you're 18, you should, if you want to believe in God, you can believe in God, and you can go to church. But I'm not gonna tell my my 3-year-old that y- you know believe in God or you're not getting dinner. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah. I mean, with
And
me,
so
go ahead. I'll let you finish your thought.
yeah, and so I think religion is good to find in a partner, um, because it shows that they know morals, they they have an understand, they have integrity, but at the
Mm.
same time, it's how devoted are they in that religion too?
Mm.
You know what I mean?
With me, it's like I said earlier on this segment, like if you believe in nothing, then honestly, you probably will be like nowhere. Like
Yeah,
you just be in a like whatever. So the same thing goes as follows. Like if you were my brother, right?
yeah,
Like I would want you to believe what I believe because if I believe that there is a heaven and
yeah,
I go there, I want you to be there.
yeah,
You know. So, but if you don't believe that, then therefore I believe that you're going wherever you're going. You know,
yeah,
if you're like, dude, I don't think like once you die, you go to sleep for eternity. There's no feeling. Like you can say it's peace because there'll be no pain, like no more suffering, no nothing. But you're not gonna be in light. You're not gonna be in dark. Just gone. You know.
yeah,
Then that's probably where you're gonna be, bro. You know what I mean? So it's
yeah.
like with me, like if I had a family, like I want you to believe what I believe, so we're all in this together.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's just me. But so okay, so we talked about religion's okay. So that's not really a crucial conversation that you'll have with your
No,
significant other.
it's a deal breaker for some, and I get it.
Mm.
But I it doesn't rule the world.
Yeah.
You know, and so definitely the biggest questions I would ask in my partner is where are we going with this relationship?
Okay.
Where's it gonna go?
All right.
What are your dreams or aspirations?
Okay.
And we can dive into that one if you want to. Um, and then definitely family is another one. You know, th-
Meaning like you have to be cool with my family and I have to be cool with your family,
yeah,
or like we're building a family because that's kind of in the same category as like having kids and
yeah.
the end result and stuff. So
And so
so
and
it's the relationship between the two families.
yeah.
Okay.
I think one is more creating the family, and the other one is family that's given to you.
Mm.
And I'm a firm believer that I I think you're my family.
Hmm.
We not we might not be blood, but it's who you're surrounded with and who you see every day, who you love.
Maybe not even see every day, dude.
No,
You know what I mean?
no,
Like.
like exactly. Not even that. I have friends that I haven't seen in years, and I
Mm.
talk to them every day, or maybe every other day. And if I saw them now, then we would just click.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean
And
that's
so
how you and I were like we knew each other since
years,
single digits, you know,
yeah,
and then we haven't seen each other in years,
yep,
you know, and then it's just like we're back to it, you know.
yeah,
I mean you're friends with Timmy. I kind of was just like, hey Kyle, you know, we never actually hung out, but you know
yeah, definitely.
our bond was still there, you know, the
Right,
connection that we all
exactly.
had together was still there. So.
Yeah. And how you view different people is going to be unique to you.
Mm.
Um, how I see you and how I see Timmy, is family status, but how I see you individually from Timmy is different. and how we talk and interact, and
The conversations that we have compared,
yeah, and so just kind of looking to see who your clan is and who her clan is.
Mm.
Does it match up? And so I think that's a question that's separate from, are we going to create a family? Are we going to become
It
parents?
might be a flag, huh?
It might.
I agree, because like if she's always out there with her little clique or clan, and you don't want to be a part of that, and then vice versa, or like she doesn't want to go to all your family gatherings because
That's a little
like,
weird.
yeah, you wouldn't want that, right?
No. And that's a big red flag.
What about finances?
Finances?
Because there's certain cultures, like my cousin, he's with a lady who, in their culture, the women handle all the money. So he makes all the money, she handles all the money. So she holds the money, she tells him how much he can spend, how much they should save, and this and that. So, and then there's also, like, in my personal experience, one of my exes, bro, she's like, money comes and goes. I don't need to save. The government always got my back. I got my parents' money. And I'm like, but what if something happens? And she's like what? I was like, I don't know, like a pandemic. She's like, unemployment or whatever, stupid things. I'm like, okay, so this is definitely a problem with me because I'm over here trying to save money.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, she was my ex. She ain't. Woo. Yes, thank you. So what about you? How does your finances? What's your views on finances?
I mean, I think
Would you do like a joint account?
I would, but not for everything.
Okay. You wouldn't lay all your eggs in one basket.
No, so it's about having, being independent.
Yeah.
The money that I make is mine, and the money that she makes is hers. Definitely I want to find a partner that's like, that's established, that has a job, it doesn't matter where, because I know people who have a lot more money working at McDonald's than people who I work with at the casino. You know what I mean?
They're always broke because they're spending those checks, huh?
Yeah, and it's a type of person,
Right.
and so I think a joint account would be cool to like put money into. Then you could do like you could save for a really nice dinner, or you could do like later on down the line marriage. That's your marriage money. There could be money for the rings. Could be money
for the wedding, for the honeymoon.
Yeah, for the honeymoon overseas or something. You know what I mean? And then you could use that joint account money to save, build it up big for a down payment on a house. Whatever.
Would you do a prenup?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. What if your girl gets offended by that, bro?
That's crazy.
You know what? we're gonna stop there. We're gonna talk about it. But when we come back, you guys, we're gonna take a 5-minute break. So stay tuned. Driving on, take the wrong exit. Come back around the freeway. Keep listening to us, guys. You're listening to Whatever Works on KCAA. I'm Sam Works.
I'm Kyle Kerrigan.
From the Bureau of Economic Geology, this is Earth Date. Lithium, the lightest metal, has transformed our rechargeable battery technology, but it can also be transformative in the human mind. Its powers were recognized by early cultures, from the Greeks to Native Americans, and for decades it has been used as a pharmaceutical drug. Lithium is highly reactive. It's one of the few metals that will easily burn. If you try to put it out with water, it reacts violently as it splits off hydrogen gas, which also burns. When lithium burns, it creates a crimson light, which you've seen whenever you've watched a fireworks show. Lithium makes their signature red color. Lithium is so reactive, it's typically stored in mineral oil. But when it enters the human body, often as a much less reactive lithium salt, its incendiary personality does a 180. In a process we don't completely understand, it seems to moderate the flow of electricity and promote the overall health of our nervous system. The result is a calming effect. This has led doctors to prescribe lithium as a successful treatment for bipolar disorder. Studies have even found that cities and towns with higher levels of lithium salts in their groundwater have markedly lower levels of depression, suicide, and violent crime. A very surprising fact, which has led some scientists to recommend that lithium be considered an essential nutrient. It may be time to take a closer look at this ancient remedy. I'm Scott Tinker, and thank you for listening.
Earth Date is produced by the Bureau of Economic Geology at the University of Texas at Austin. Earth Date is researched by Julie Hennings, written by Harry Lynch, and distributed by Mark Blunt and Casey Walker. For more stories, follow us on Facebook or visit earthdate.org.
You've eaten lots of great food and not so great food at restaurants. Cowboy Burgers in Fontana and now on Arlington and Riverside will fast become one of your favorites with their delicious, mouth-watering burgers and breakfast burritos. Cowboy Burgers and Barbecue also serves fantastic smoked barbecue baby back ribs, tri-tip, chicken, pulled pork sandwiches, as well as lunch and dinner plates. Everything is made from scratch, including their delicious side dishes like coleslaw, potato salad, barbecue beans, and much, much more. Check out their rich, decadent chocolate brownies.
Hi, I'm food critic Alan Borgen, and you can dine in, take food out, or have them cater your next special event. I highly recommend Cowboy Burgers and Barbecue at their new location at 5573 Arlington Avenue in Riverside. Just look them up on the internet. That's Cowboy Burgers and Barbecue. Happy eating!
And perfect for the holidays, Cowboy Burgers and Barbecue is also available for catering. That's Cowboy Burgers and Barbecue in Fontana and now in Riverside on Arlington.
Bob Vila here with my home improvement tip of the day. Adding a half bath to your basement not only increases convenience, but it can also boost the value of your home. You'll need to know if sewer or septic lines are buried sufficiently deep in the ground so gravity can do most of the work getting rid of waste. A check with your municipality or the contractor who built your home will probably provide the answer. If it'll be gravity doing most of the work, you'll still need to install a one-way valve to keep wastewater from backing up into the basement. If the lines are above the level of the toilet, one good option is to install an up-flushing toilet. They generally have pumping mechanisms hidden inside the toilet or behind it. Up-flushing toilets are not cheap, but you probably won't have to cut through your basement slab, so that'll save you money. Some models even allow you to tie in the wastewater lines from sinks and shower stalls. In any case, don't start the job before you check local building codes. Most installations will require a permit. Get more info at bobvila.com and right here at home with me, Bob Vila.
The Mortgage Voice is Jeff Barton, your mortgage advocate here on KCAA. Jeff informs you of the ever-changing mortgage industry. Mortgage loans can be confusing and overwhelming, but Jeff and his guests will help you understand the difference in various loans and help you own or keep your home.
Trust is the major issue here, right? If someone doesn't trust you with their most intimate financial details and secrets, it's going to be very hard for them to do a loan.
Tune into the Mortgage Voice every Saturday afternoon at 3 and Sunday at noon here on KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM.
Shout out to our sponsor real quick before we get back to our topic.
snjradio.com. No negative news, no politics, just feel good music.
All right, you guys. So before we went on break, we kind of stomped it out here. We were talking about, crucial conversations to have with, your significant other.
Yeah.
And we talked about religion, which is okay. You can believe whatever you want in Kyle's spacing. We talked about the end game. Are we married? Are we going to have kids? We talked about family. You have to get along with my family. I have to get along with your family. We don't want no controversy. And then I asked him before we went on break, would you get a prenup? And he said,
No.
No, he said obviously. And I was like, what? I was like,
yeah, prenup. That's what I meant.
And the thing is, it's like, bro, imagine the girl, like, what, you don't trust me? You don't love me?
Well,
like, how would you have that conversation?
Here's the thing. I own 2 businesses.
Right.
If we get a divorce, the state of California gives her half of my businesses. No. That's a prenup.
So do you think that she would have to understand where you're coming from in order for it to work out?
Yeah, but it's all trust. And that's
so you're saying you don't trust her, or you guys don't trust the relationship?
If she doesn't understand, or agree with that, then there's some things that we're missing in conversations. You know what I mean? And so
yeah, thank you, Joe.
Yeah,
By the
Joe's-
way,
Joe's like,
statistically, I think it's like 52% of marriages end up in divorce.
well, there's different things that go into relationships. It's personal development. It's development. Do you have do you have development with spiritual development? That too. If you're both Christian, where are you guys? At with your faith.
And you know what? I really think, you know what really ruins relationships, bro? I'm not gonna lie.
Huh.
And they take over most of the world, but Disney, bro, because Disney gives like this fake persona of like happily ever after.
Yeah.
And so when people start getting in arguments, they're like, okay, this is not love, or like we're fighting all the time. Like we should always be happy, which is not the case.
No.
And my spider senses are tingling. I feel like we're about to have a call coming in, but we'll give it a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
But and I think that's a huge problem because, bro, you fight with your siblings.
Yeah.
Bro, you argue with everybody in life. There's our caller. All right, let's get into it. What are we talking about today? What's going on?
Oh my goodness. So, I as a gentleman was saying, Sam, I agree with him. There's some conversations I believe as men that we have to learn about relationships, right? And on the spiritual level, what I've learned, because I'm divorced twice, right? And now today, what I understand is, if I find a woman that I'm interested in, I would have to be able to articulate my vision, my beliefs, what I'm up to, my political, like all that stuff. So that gives her an opportunity to hear what I'm up to and what I'm about, right?
Right.
And then give her an opportunity to share what her vision is and what she's up to. And if by doing that, then it allows us to hear where we are in life, where we want to go, same direction, different direction. And even if that stuff is negotiable, right? Because if it's not negotiable, then maybe we could just be friends. Maybe we could just hang out, but not get into that intimate relationship level.
Right.
And so to be able to have that kind of conversation gives the man a sense to say, okay, well, we can align in these areas, because if we both got two different visions, then that's division, die. Two is die.
Right.
So now you got two different different visions, and at some point that relationship is gonna veer off, and now you got divorce.
So let me ask
I
you
agree.
something.
Like and I believe we need to have some real hard conversations with men, just so they can get a sense of the consequences of relationships. Like I was blessed. I was able to keep my house in my divorce, but a lot of times men lose their stuff, and that's the risk today. Is, do I want to take that chance again and find someone to marry and then put my stuff on the line again?
Yeah, you have to
That's
get lucky
tough,
again.
man.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: when do you have this conversation with them? Before marriage, like like when things get really serious?
No, day one.
Day one.
Day one. You've got to. We've got to teach men to listen to the woman's her ways. The Bible talks about God's ways, not just His works. I don't care how fine you are. What is your attitude? And if she's going to allow me to cultivate her, that means she's going to allow me to, help her develop herself, expand her mind, expand her mindset, expand her spiritual walk. If she's into that, that's a good woman, because she's allowing you to cultivate her into the woman that you want her to be, and vice versa. So you got to have that day one, man, because if you don't, you're already attracted to one another. Now you're going to have sex. Now the sex is going to make the relationship cloudy. You might get pregnant on the first time, and you've just done all that.
Yeah, you'll be wasting
You don't even know
time,
how her
huh?
behavior is.
Yeah. And that's only going to create heartbreak and other things like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
They say that sex is like the glue of the relationship. But if you
All right, Austin Powers.
well, the thing is, it's like it's like if you don't have that conversation beforehand, then you're not that you're stuck, but now you're in a sticky situation because the sex is good, emotionally, internally, physically, like all these attractions happen, but then you have these conversations after the fact.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now it's almost like
exactly.
you don't want to back down because of how good everything else is.
Yeah. And then
And now you discover that she's gonna go crazy when the Wi-Fi go out.
Yeah. You're like, oh
Yeah.
man, what did I get myself into?
Right? So then now you got to work through that. So
Mhm.
I just believe as a man, 53 years old today, man, and going back to take care of our generation behind us, there has to be some relationship conversations, consequences. We got to teach our youth and even men how to look at the consequences first before you make that decision. Talk to people. Find out what it was like. People who were divorced and remarried. People who have been together for years. Find out what they went through and what they had to pass through to keep that marriage together or why they walked away. Then you get a sense of what kind of direction you want to go. But we have to do that before sex, man.
Before sex, have that
Before-
talk,
Definitely.
guys.
I agree with that.
Hey, thank you so much for calling in. I
No
hope.
problem, no problem. I love y'all show, man.
Hey, appreciate
Thank you.
brother. Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
a supporter.
And I hope the people out there listening are really, you don't have to take it to heart, but put some consideration into this, guys.
Definitely.
It's not black and white. There's some gray areas, and we can always, you just keep your mind open, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to think one way your whole life and then live that life wrong, So
Exactly.
you can do this or you can do that, But what you want to do is just hear everybody out. And the simulation is the fastest way to success, okay? Because if you try to learn by self mistakes, it's going to take a whole lifetime. So how do you speed that up? Simulation.
Yeah.
Bro, that's why people read books. That's why people write books, movies, and all that stuff, because
Yeah.
it gives you a sense of direction, whether it's a place not to go or a place to go. You know?
And I think writing or teaching, being an author, teaching, acting in a particular field can tell you if you really like that field or not.
Mm-hmm.
For example, Sam, how much do you love real estate? Do you think you could teach others real estate?
Bro, I think I can, and every day,
Yeah.
dude. Each year, there's different regulations in real
Right.
estate because people are getting sued left and right, and then the justice system is like, okay, so how do we prevent this from happening? All
Yeah.
right, so now we got to apply this new rule, or we got to change this up.
So there you go.
VA loans actually used to be very tough back in the day, but now they're a little more lenient in terms of like their policies and stuff.
Yeah.
And if you guys want more information, talk to a lender. I got some great lenders on hand with me. But do your research, and it's better to get second opinions, third
Right.
opinions. You know what I
Definitely.
mean? Like if you
Mhm.
just listen to one person, that person's probably teaching you the wrong way, giving you the wrong direction.
Yeah.
So it's good to have a mentor,
Yeah.
but it's better to have mentors. You know what I
Right.
mean? But the worst thing to do is not have a mentor, not have a sense of direction, and not have a dream, right? Like
Yeah.
what you were talking about earlier.
Exactly.
Like you don't want somebody who's just spiraling in the same spot,
Right. And you definitely don't want someone that's just winging it 100% of the time.
I mean, hey, if you are somebody who's scheduled, what is it, like A type personality,
Yeah.
it's nice to have someone who does wing every once in a while.
Well, I'm talking about the people who don't have direction,
Mm.
who are just, I'm working here because I want to work here.
Mm.
It's not going to take me anywhere. Those type of people.
I see.
Because if you end up marrying those type of people, they're going to one day say, hey, let's just get divorced or whatever.
Let me just take your money.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, you definitely want people you think alike with.
Mm.
It's not always about the people. Okay, let me back this up. I heard this once. Okay, it's not about the people at your table. It's about where you're at.
Mm.
Okay. The people who get to your table or are invited by you, the people that you sit with and eat with, spiritually or mentally. are your people, right? But what's the difference if it's in a cell or if it's outside or where you flourish? It's about like-minded people. People. For example, you said that you would want someone spiritually aligned with you.
Mm.
You know, then you definitely want someone who is God first, right?
Mm.
And definitely, and I think it's definitely important for me too. If I'm God first and they don't respect that, then that's going to be an issue down the
Then
line.
they don't respect you.
Exactly. So everything goes hand in hand. You just got to really talk and hash it out. But yeah,
Hash it out, he says.
You
Throw
do.
those hands, those
You do just duke it out. In the
those
kitchen.
thonkers.
If it's in the kitchen, whatever.
Yeah.
It's just
Make sure you buy paper plates, not
Yeah.
glass plates.
and then put the phones away. You don't want any domestic violence.
Yeah, for real.
But
Hash it out, he says. That's funny.
just figure it out.
I had I've learned from all my relationships.
You have to.
Yeah, you really do.
Yeah.
But let me ask you something. How do you keep the flame? Like, how do you keep that spark in a relationship? Because I have my answer, but I want to know what your answer is. Like, let's say you guys been dating for, I don't know, 5 years, right?
Yeah.
And you guys know everything about each other.
Okay.
Like, you guys go to the restaurant and you guys don't talk or say anything to each other because you guys already know everything about each other.
Then you got to get out.
Get out of what? The relationship?
Yeah.
Or out of the restaurant?
Both.
Joe, he's on top of it. Here's my thing. I do think, okay, I did have one experience when I went to a restaurant and it was just awkward between her and I. And I think it was the environment. So I said, you know what, let's just get out of here. Yeah.
Yeah.
She pays for me. No, I'm just kidding. But let me tell you something. If you wanna keep a spark in a relationship, keep that flame going, okay, you guys gotta do some teamwork activities.
Yeah. Relationship building.
Do something fun, bro. Go paintballing. You know what I mean?
Something.
Do a puzzle together.
Do something.
Do something. Because when a relationship's awesome in the beginning, there's that flair because it's like, okay, I don't know this person, but I want to know this person, right?
Yeah.
So you guys back and forth, back and forth. How long can that go on for, right? Now you know everything about this person. Then what? But if you guys go to like a Spartan race, or if you guys train for something together, or if you guys just do something together, like anything, bro. Like, this is why, like, game shows, like, especially like the dating game shows, like, they fall in love like within a couple of months because they work together and they're not just getting to know each other. I mean, they get to know each other like in their own way, but
Yeah.
like working together, doing stuff together as a team and stuff, like building each other up.
That's the
Like-
same way with that 90 Day Fiance stuff. Have you seen that show?
Never heard 90 Day Fiance. What is that?
It's a show. People don't know each other. They meet. 90 days later, they get married.
Nah, this is why divorce rates are so high.
Well, here's the thing. All those marriages last.
For how long? For how long?
Well, here's the thing.
90 days? That's so funny.
Well, I'm just
My
piggybacking
guy.
off what you say. These guys are working together for 90 days, so they know each other.
Right.
That's they're essentially, they're working together for 90 days straight.
Okay, but then what? Then they go have sushi together, and then they get lazy together, and then they start hating each other. That's one thing I don't like about relationships is, like, you are on a grind. You are doing A1 to yourself. You're building yourself up, and the moment you get in a relationship, not all relationships, but most relationships, you sacrifice your gym time, to go on a date with them or to stay in bed, snuggle with them, rather than getting up as you usually do, making that money as you usually do.
Well, I mean, it's just a routine change.
It is, but is it a good routine change? I don't know, bro. There's sacrifices. I'm not hating on relationships, but I was at my friend's house the other night, and he was like, bro, she met me when I was at my prime. I was benching 365, deadlifting 5+.
Doesn't mean anything to me.
Right?
You know what I mean?
But to him it did.
Yeah.
To him it did. And now he's like, and then we just started, going out and eating, and now he kind of like, he's kind of like sloppy, And like, bro, he admitted that to her. Like I was right there. They've been together for 6 years. And it's like, where'd that go? And that wasn't even me asking that. That's what he said. He said, where'd that go? I was like, bro, it's because you guys started like being comfortable. Yeah, and I say this about all the time, bro. Like comfortability is what kills you.
Yeah.
It kills your dreams. It kills your health, bro. It's crazy. We only got like 2 more minutes. Yeah, if you're there you go.
There we go.
And you know what's crazy? If here's a little secret to all those people who have like superstitious or like flags about their significant other. All right, if they start to change, you better keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
If they start going to the gym again and start going out again, you might want to be a little worried. That's all I'm saying. All right, 2 more minutes, guys. 2 more minutes.
Well, I mean, if they do it out of nowhere,
yeah,
then
like,
that's kind of. But you know, if you start incorporating it into your routine,
right, and
that's different.
And honestly, if I was dating someone, I start doing that, I'll give them a chance. Hey, babe, you want to start working out? I'm gonna start waking up at 5 a.m. She's like, no more snuggle time. No more snuggle time. You know what I mean?
We can still, there's still
on the weekends, you know.
Well,
but
it's compromise.
Yeah, you know, maybe instead of 5, we can do like until 7 or something.
Yeah.
But I definitely think that, you know, God tests me personally. All right, I'm doing good, and then He always puts a woman in front of me as soon as I'm doing good, and it's like, all right, let's see if he slacks off. Let's see if he respects himself more than all the other obstacles that come in my way. Because I can say no to drugs. I can say no to, like, friends being, you know, a-holes, whatever. Yeah. But when it comes to my weakness, you know what I mean?
Weakness is women.
You know?
Oh, man.
Like, that's where it gets me. So, you know what? Hey, next week we'll probably talk about our weaknesses.
Okay.
Yeah? You down
Let's
for that?
do it. Yeah.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right, you guys, you're listening to Whatever Works. Stay tuned. We got Ferran Dozier on next coming up on the 8 o'clock hour.
Do not mess with the dial.
Yes, guys. Happy Sunday. I'm Sam Works.
I'm Kyle Kerrigan.
And we're
local radio every day. Tune in to